stow. 8 car brands are hemorrhaging customers so fast they are practically giving cars away. Just last month, luxury dealerships reported inventory sitting for 180 days, something unheard of 5 years ago. Brands that once had 6-month waiting lists are now offering 0% financing and cashback deals that would make a used car salesman blush. For decades, these manufacturers convinced buyers they were investing in prestige and reliability. The reality is you are paying premium prices for yesterday's technology wrapped in tomorrow's problems. In this video, I am exposing the 8 brands desperately slashing prices just to move metal off lots. I explain why their resale values are crashing harder than a test dummy and the real reasons smart buyers are walking away. Stick around until the end. Number 1 brand's collapse will make you question everything you thought you knew about automotive prestige. Hit subscribe now if you want the truth about which cars to avoid in 2026. But before we start, consider what is your next car purchase going to be. Number 8, Mazda. Mazda's ambitious journey upmarket has hit a serious roadblock. For years, the Japanese automaker has tried to shed its economy car image, positioning itself as a premium alternative with upscale materials and refined driving dynamics. Marketing campaigns highlighted the Kodo design language and claimed the vehicles offered near luxury experiences without the luxury price tag. But the reality on dealership floors tells a different story. Mazda's identity crisis has created a dangerous no-man's land where budget-conscious buyers are being scared away by rising prices, while true luxury shoppers remain unconvinced. The brand is discovering the hard lesson that simply declaring yourself premium does not make it so in consumers' minds. The numbers paint a troubling picture. The entire CX series of crossovers, the bread and butter of Mazda's lineup, is languishing on lots. Dealers who once moved these vehicles quickly are now facing inventory levels 40% above their forecasts. To combat this, unprecedented discounts are appearing across the lineup. The CX-50, meant to be a premium offering, is seeing price cuts of up to $3,500, hardly the sign of a vehicle in high demand. Behind closed doors, dealer morale is cratering. Insiders report that salespeople who once proudly showcased Mazda's value proposition now struggle to justify the premium positioning. Repeat customers who were loyal to the brand during its more affordable days are experiencing sticker shock and looking elsewhere. The average days on lot for Mazda vehicles has stretched from 45 days to over 70 days in many markets. The verdict is clear. When you try to be everything to everyone, you end up being nothing to no one. Mazda's attempt to occupy the awkward space between mainstream and luxury has left it without a clear identity. A brand that once stood for affordable driving pleasure now risks becoming a footnote in the industry. Not quite special enough to command premium prices, but too expensive to compete with true value brands. Number 7. The people's car has become the people's problem. Volkswagen's attempts to rehabilitate its image in the wake of the devastating Dieselgate emissions scandal continue to fall flat. Despite ambitious promises about their ID series electric vehicles and a renewed commitment to environmental consciousness, buyer confidence remains shattered. The baggage from Volkswagen's systematic deception continues to weigh heavy. Internally, executives had hoped that the passage of time would heal these wounds, but industry analysts note that automotive trust, once broken, requires decades to rebuild if it can be rebuilt at all. The emissions scandal wasn't just a corporate misstep. It was a betrayal of the very environmental values today's car buyers increasingly prioritize. Beyond the ethical concerns, the ownership experience itself hasn't helped repair Volkswagen's reputation. Repair costs for Volkswagen vehicles remain substantially higher than Asian competitors, with parts availability often delayed and service costs outpacing inflation. Dealership experiences vary wildly across the country, creating an inconsistent brand experience that further erodes confidence. Forums and social media groups dedicated to Volkswagen ownership are filled with stories of frustrating dealer interactions and unexpected maintenance costs. The clearest sign of desperation comes from the pricing strategy for Volkswagen's electric ID lineup. These vehicles, meant to herald the brand's post-Dieselgate future, are now being heavily discounted. The ID P4 electric SUV, which should represent peak demand as a practical electric crossover, is seeing discounts of up to $7,500 beyond federal incentives, a clear indication that showroom traffic and actual purchases are falling well below projections. This pattern of broken trust isn't unique to Volkswagen, but the scale and deliberateness of their deception has created a case study in how past sins haunt future sales. The stark warning for the industry is clear. Automotive buyers have long memories, and even technically excellent new products can't overcome a damaged reputation. As one former Volkswagen marketing executive admitted off the record, the company is still paying for mistakes made years ago and will be paying for them for years to come. If automotive brands were patients in a hospital, Mitsubishi would be the one quietly being moved to palliative care. Once a vibrant competitor known for rally-inspired performance cars and innovative SUVs, Mitsubishi's American presence has been reduced to a ghostly shadow of its former self. The limitations of Mitsubishi's current strategy are painfully evident. Their entire U.S. lineup consists of just a handful of budget-friendly crossovers, the Outlander, Eclipse Cross, and Outlander Sport, none of which make any meaningful impact on their respective segments. The Eclipse name, once associated with an iconic sports car, has been reduced to a badge on a forgettable crossover, a move that alienated enthusiasts without attracting new buyers. Despite making genuine improvements in reliability and feature content, Mitsubishi cannot shake the persistent cheap import stigma that has followed it for years. Consumer perception studies consistently show that even shoppers who cannot identify a single Mitsubishi model still associate the brand with budget and last resort purchasing decisions. Based in blind comparison tests, consumers routinely rate identical features lower when told they come from a Mitsubishi. The survival strategy for Mitsubishi dealers has become increasingly desperate. Many locations only remain financially viable through shared service bays with other brands and multi-brand network arrangements. A growing number of Mitsubishi dealers have focused on used car sales over new vehicle inventory, using the Mitsubishi franchise primarily to access auction channels and financing options. The harsh reality is that when your brand becomes synonymous with budget option, climbing back up the value ladder becomes nearly impossible. As Mitsubishi finds itself trapped in a vicious cycle, unable to command prices that would fund competitive research and development, yet unable to develop standout products that would justify higher prices. Looking at the big picture, what we are witnessing is not a comeback story. It is a slow-motion exit strategy. Industry analysts speculate that parent company Nissan Renault is simply managing a gradual retreat from the American market, maintaining just enough presence to preserve the option value of the brand while focusing resources on more promising international markets. And hey, if you are seeing the pattern here, brands that lost their identity are losing their customers. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe because we are just getting to the really shocking stuff. And if you want to learn which cars are actually worth buying in 2026, click the link above. It might save you from making a costly mistake. The Chrysler brand, once a cornerstone of American automotive manufacturing, has been reduced to hanging by the thinnest of threads. The iconic 300 sedan is gone, leaving only the Pacifica minivan to carry an entire brand's legacy and future. This is not just product portfolio management. It is a brand on life support. Bengal model represents an unprecedented contraction for a major American nameplate. Even during the darkest days of the 2008 financial crisis, Chrysler maintained multiple product lines. Today's situation is not just unusual. It is historically unprecedented for a non-spedy manufacturer. This extreme limitation has forced a dependency on fleet sales that reveals the brand's precarious position. Dealers report that up to 60% of their Pacifica sales now go directly to rental companies rather than individual households. While this keeps production lines running, fleet-heavy strategies are widely recognized in the industry as a last resort approach that damages residual values and brand perception. The uncertainty surrounding Chrysler's future is perhaps the most damning evidence of trouble. Parent company Stellantis, despite repeated questioning from dealers in the automotive press, remains conspicuously non-committal about Chrysler's future lineup plans, beyond vague references to electrification opportunities. No concrete roadmap exists for expanding beyond the Pacifica. In volumes, the situation has all the hallmarks of a death spiral that industry veterans recognize all too well. When a century-old brand gets reduced to a single model, that is not streamlining. That is preparation for closure. Similar patterns preceded the deaths of Plymouth, Pontiac, and Mercury, all brands that were gradually reduced to skeletal lineups before being finally discontinued. Days are numbered, and everyone knows it except maybe Chrysler themselves. Dealers have begun quietly making contingency plans, with many diversifying their franchise portfolios or emphasizing their Jeep and Ram offerings. The once proud Chrysler nameplate appears destined to join Oldsmobile and Saturn in the graveyard of American automotive brands, not with a bang, but with the quiet whisper of a single minivan's engine. Infiniti's fall from grace in the luxury segment has been as swift as it has been devastating. Once positioned as a legitimate rival to Lexus, with distinctive design language and innovative technologies, Infiniti now finds itself desperately clutching at relevance in a crowded luxury market. The brand's decline becomes obvious when tracking product development cycles, while competitors like Genesis and Lexus have aggressively updated their technology interfaces, materials quality, and powertrain options. Infiniti's updates have been incremental at best. Models like the QX60 and Q50 have fallen years behind competitors in crucial areas like infotainment technology, driver assistance features, and interior refinement. The latest iterations of these vehicles feel more like mild refreshes of decade-old designs than truly competitive luxury. When Infiniti ownership tell an equally troubling story. Leasing has traditionally been the backbone of luxury vehicle sales, but Infiniti's leasing penetration has dropped precipitously as resale values dip below luxury market norms. Residual values for models like the QX50 now trail competitors by 15 to 20% after 3 years, making lease payments uncompetitive despite desperate attempts to inflate residuals through manufacturer subsidies. Perhaps the most visible sign of Infiniti's collapse is the ongoing consolidation at the dealer level. Dealerships that once proudly showcased Infiniti as a standalone luxury experience are quietly merging lots with Nissan just to stay financially afloat. In major markets across the country, what were once gleaming Infiniti showrooms with dedicated staff and amenities are being absorbed into Nissan operations, sharing service bays, parts departments, and even sales teams. This identity crisis reveals a fundamental truth in the luxury market. When your luxury brand needs to share space with your mainstream brand, you have lost the plot entirely. The very separation that defines luxury, exclusive spaces, specialized knowledge, and distinctive experiences is being eroded by economic necessity. The trajectory for Infiniti is not a temporary slump or market correction. It is a brand slowly fading into irrelevance. Former Infiniti executives, speaking on condition of anonymity, admit that internal discussions now center more on managing the decline than on legitimate revival strategies. Without dramatic intervention, Infiniti appears destined to become an asterisk in automotive history. A cautionary tale of how quickly luxury relevance can evaporate when innovation stalls and identity becomes compromised. Buick, the brand that once represented attainable American luxury, now finds itself trapped in an identity limbo that is decimating its market position. The confusion at the core of Buick's struggle is its increasingly incoherent market positioning. For decades, Buick was marketed as affordable luxury, not quite Cadillac, but definitely a step above Chevrolet. This positioning worked in a less globally competitive market. But against today's premium imports, Buick's luxury credentials have been completely undermined. The inventory situation at Buick dealerships tells the story in cold, hard numbers. Dealers across the country report units sitting for 90-plus days unsold, despite major rebates and incentives that would have been unthinkable just 5 years ago. Models like the Envision and Encore GX, designed to capture the booming crossover market, are instead capturing dust on dealership lots. Thousands have reached $6,000 per unit just to move aging inventory, a clear sign of a brand in crisis. The demographic challenge facing Buick might be its most existential threat. Data shows the brand's average buyer age hovering around 67 years old, among the oldest in the industry, despite marketing campaigns clearly aimed at younger consumers, featuring modern music and active lifestyles. Buick has failed to meaningfully connect with buyers under 50. The harsh truth is that brands with aging customer bases face a mathematical certainty. Without younger replacement buyers, sales will decline simply through attrition. This demographic problem creates a compounding marketing challenge. When your average customer is over 65, you are not building a future, you are managing a decline. Every branding decision becomes an impossible balancing act. Change too much and you alienate your existing customers. Change too little and you fail to attract new ones. The reality of Buick's luxury positioning has become increasingly transparent to consumers. Despite premium pricing and marketing language filled with luxury signifiers, cross-shopping data shows Buick vehicles are most commonly compared with mainstream, non-luxury alternatives. Buick's luxury positioning ultimately fooled no one except maybe Buick itself. The brand now finds itself charging near luxury prices for products that consumers perceive as mainstream offerings with fancy badges. Now, a formula for market failure that is playing out in real time across showrooms nationwide. Nissan has collapsed from a reliable powerhouse to a brand hemorrhaging trust, plummeting resale values like 3-year-old Altima selling for 20% less than comparable Toyotas or Hondas, reveal a severe quality decline driven by cost-cutting on notorious CVT transmissions and cheap interiors. Loyal customers have turned into vocal critics, creating a wave of negative word of mouth. Nissan now relies heavily on fleet sales to rental companies, a desperate move that further crushes resale values and scares away retail buyers, trapping the brand in a destructive cycle of eroding value. Chevy's situation is a full meltdown. America's iconic brand is slashing prices, often over $10,000 off MSRP on current electric models like the Bolt and Blazer, and still can't move inventory. This panic-driven discounting stems from rock-bottom demand due to consumer fears over software glitches, charging issues, and battery longevity. The electric vehicle failure has reversed Chevy's halo effect, creating skepticism across its entire lineup. When the brand that built America can't sell cars to Americans, it signals a fundamental crisis in domestic manufacturing and brand trust. In short, these brands are paying the price for sacrificing quality and consumer trust for short-term gains.